Got ourselves a 6-game NBA slate, and we're going to do what we always do here on the Splash Play NBA channel. We're going to dig into my projections compared to some of the industry leaders out there, like Stokastic and like our friends at Unabated. Of course, you should check out for yourself, $30 off the promo code SPLASH. Of course, I will also be checking out ownership along the way. We'll run some DFS sims. We'll get some best bets courtesy of Unabated. By the end of this video, guys, you're going to know all the must-plays for today's NBA slate. January 31st, last day of January. Let's make it count. And big thing here for me is no Jonas Valanciunas to ruin my day on this slate. Thank God. It's been awful few days with J-Val. I feel like you had to play in these last two slates. Didn't work out either time. Ty Jerome, the exact opposite. My precious boy. Give Ty Jerome kisses on the head. He's a hero. But let's get into this slate, guys. And shouts to the chat as well. Appreciate Steven asking for likes on my behalf. I always need chivalrous men to help me out here on the stream. And how's it on this Aloha Friday? CJ loves a good Aloha. GM's here. Appreciate all you guys being here on Friday. Let's get into it. We got Giannis, number one, the man, the thumbnail. I have projected for 62.5 fantasy points today, actually ahead of Nikola Jokic, which surprises me a little bit. I did change some of my season weighting a little bit, so I'm not weighting this current season quite as aggressively as I did before, but still more than enough to kind of reflect this season being more important than rolling projection going back to last year. That said, getting Giannis above Jokic, if I had to guess, would have a little bit to do with the total here. A nice 235-point implied total for Milwaukee, San Antonio. That is technically 1 point higher than Denver, Philadelphia. Match versus San Antonio as well. Actually, a little bit, slightly better pace for San Antonio. I'm honestly surprised I have Giannis higher than Jokic. Certainly how I feel about it. That said, getting 26% Giannis today. Fields at 41. Feels to be going heavy on Giannis, at least based on the first run of ownership from Stokastic today. A lot of Giannis for everybody today at 11.5. Does seem like he's a better projected play, but obviously Jokic being, almost a third his own, gives you some tournament option to go to Jokic today and feel pretty good about that. Jokic versus the Philadelphia team. No Andre Drummond again. No Joel Embiid again. Same situation we've had for Philly a lot. You should abuse a guy like Gershon Yabusele. We're not getting the same situation as we got with Jokic versus Towns, so they both kind of cancel each other out in a unstoppable force versus a movable object kind of thing. Jokic here, I'm at 61.8 fantasy points, flat even with Stokastic at their 61.8. I'm at 15% ownership in my top 157 lineups. Stokastic gives you 14%. So not a big Jokic stand. I am heavier on Giannis than Jokic, but I think you can make the case to just flip Giannis and Jokic's ownership a little bit there, get more Jokic, a little bit less Giannis. I think based on how the field's playing it, Jokic, obviously, we know the upside being there is always going to be there. Victor Wembanyama would be your less owned guy out of the group here. 7% for the field, 3% for me. Wemby in his spot, good 53 fantasy point projection, but not anywhere near where Giannis and Jokic are. So Wemby is your most tournament option out of the group. You are paying down a little bit, but still paying $11K for a guy that you get direct leverage, I suppose, against Giannis in some capacity. Really more than anything for Wemby. We know the ceiling is there. Talk about a lot with Wemby, though, on the show. When you have the full Spurs lineup in, you have a lot of guys like your Devin Vassell's, your Jeremy Sohans, even your Chris Pauls, who do get a lot of assists. Guys take the ball out of Wemby's hands enough here that I would say you don't quite have that same situation to the same extent as you do for Giannis and Nikola Jokic, but that's the case with Wemby here. He does project about 8 fantasy points lower. Shout out guy Robert from the Turd here on the chat. Super squirting on the basketball channel too now. Yes, indeed. It's all basketball videos right now until we figure out what we're doing for NFL. They'll probably be back to the big board in the NFL channel. If you guys missed that next week. But here with Wemby, we'll close out the loop on NBA for right now on the big men. Wemby looks good, but not nearly as good to me as Jokic is Giannis. And of course, that opens up more tournament upside at low ownership because that's how this always goes. Cade Cunningham. Big stand in favor of Cade for me today. I'm at 53 fantasy points. Stokastic has been a rounded up 51. Got him in 35% of my lineups compared to the field 12. Matchup for Cade today. We're looking at the team totals here for Detroit. 113.8 implied points for Detroit. Not a bad total, about average on the slate. Match versus Dallas here with overall 228.5 as the over-under for the game. It's not bad. Obviously for Dallas, they can blow teams off the court. They're only a 1-point favorite here on the road in Detroit. So Cade, to me, competitive spot on paper. I'm not getting a lot of Kyrie. It would be kind of nice conceptually to pair Cade with Kyrie a little bit. Jalen Duren going to be another chalky Piston on the slate with no Isaiah Stewart as well. So getting some Pistons a good amount today, but Cade is a big stand. Tyrese Maxey, guy that I normally like more than the field, 27% for the field today. I'm at 17. Again, no Paul George, no Joel Embiid, no Andre Drummond, if that matters at this point. Maxey gets the full run of the castle here. If they're going to stay competitive versus Denver, Tyrese Maxey is probably a big part of that. You certainly can consider pairing Jokic and Maxey together if you can find a salary. Not a lot of tremendous values in the slate. You're going to get the same Musa Diabate one with the Hornets centers out. But besides that, really, I like the concept of Maxey, I think, more than I do practically, with me being a little bit under the field on him. But I have no issues with Maxey being the zone. Kind of shocks me he is that owned, though. Jason Tatum, the field's going to be at 15%. I got him at 14. And once again, Miles Bridges, the man I said I basically had at about 50 fantasy points last game. He ends up going for 50 fantasy points. Here I'd have him today at 47.4. His rates overall in court time, without LaMelo, without Brandon Miller, he is average. That's not even including the court time without Mark Williams. I do kind of give him some more rebound upside. But he's averaged 1.3 fantasy points a minute, 33% usage, 23% assist rate. He's basically the main guy for the Hornets, whether he should be or not, is Miles Bridges. As I talked about last video, really have a hard time putting him on the video unless it looks like a smash play, or on the thumbnail rather. He smashed in that game. I think you're in a similar spot here for Miles Bridges at 8,500. And everybody else here amongst the top protected guys, kind of nobody stands out that much. So we'll get to them. We go game by game here. Let's sort by value now. See what the top values look like. I think we're going to see Moussa Diabate up top, if I'm remembering correctly. But let's see what we get. All right, we got Moussa Diabate here, 57% for the field. I got him at 66%. So Moussa Diabate played, I believe, what was it, 27 minutes last game. Let me pull it up on this computer over here. We got Charlotte. Let's pull up the popcorn machine. So last game, Diabate came off the bench behind Taj Gibson. Gibson had a 5-minute stint, basically, then yielded to Diabate time. Diabate got to 27 minutes in that game, so that's about where I thought. Today, we have him projected via Stokastic data for 30 minutes, which feels a little bit aggressive. If you did have him for 27 again, you'd be getting a little bit less Diabate, so that's one thing to watch out for. It does feel like the minutes projection here a little bit over-aggressive and could come down when they update things after this video. At some point when this video is going on is when usually Stokastic does their first update for the evening. So for Diabate, I have him projected at 26.5 right now. Assuming that he plays 29.7 minutes, that comes down to a projection of 26.5. You're probably losing a good fantasy point and change off of that. Diabate would be less of a smash play, I think. Would still be in there probably about a third of your lineups to half. So Diabate, chalky, very chalky right now. The minutes feel kind of aggressive, though. If he starts, you feel better about it. If you get the Gibson nominal start again, I wouldn't feel great about Diabate getting this close to 30. Paul Reed, so you have no Isaiah Stewart today. As a result, the backup minutes should all be going to Paul Reed's way. Jalen Duren's going to be a more interesting play, I think, overall. He does play about 30-ish minutes generally in court time without Isaiah Stewart this year. Can get up to 33 minutes in some games where he's no foul trouble and he makes sense in the closing group. If he doesn't close, we're talking more like 26, 27 minutes. There's no foul trouble for Jalen Duren as well. That said, any minutes that Duren doesn't play, Paul Reed is likely to play. He's a 3K minimum salary guy. So, again, not a bad matchup going against Dallas either. So, Paul Reed at 3K, one of the value plays to go to here. Against Stokastic did an update for this one. I'd update that one myself. So, Paul Reed, I have as good right now. Didn't get him in lineups because he wasn't really in the contest pool in the sim. It's one of those annoying things that we kind of deal with when their data is not updated. And I can't run the sim off the updated data. But Paul Reed, I do think, will present himself as a top value in the slate theoretically, with him getting about 15 to 18 minutes, depending on the projection set you're using and whatever minutes people create. Aaron Gordon started last game. Surprisingly, he displaced Christian Brown and not Russell Westbrook. They're keeping Westbrook as a starter. Aaron Gordon projected to play 28 minutes today, which is around where he played last time. I think he got a few extra minutes maybe in this projection. That he gets, I think he was at like 26. He was at, no, he played 30.5. I must have missed part of that last stint. So Aaron Gordon played 30.5 minutes last time out. They have him a few minutes lower. He's at 4,400. Still kind of priced for that bench role where he had not fully gotten the minutes ramp up yet. So Aaron Gordon can be played by 39% of the field. I've got him at 55. Don't understand the mood for Brown. I mean, for the playoffs, I think if you have Westbrook out there, it's not going to be as good of a scene. The thing is, like, they've played well enough with Westbrook. Jokic and Westbrook seem to work well together. So I think they're kind of ignoring, what the analytics would say, what the kind of team structure by how, teams approach things optimally in 2025 would say, which is like you want to have another defender out there, another 3-and-D guy, because Westbrook's played well enough to be my guess. But as soon as there's like a negative side to that, if Denver goes on a skid, I would guess you probably get Westbrook back out, Brown in that starting group. And for the playoffs, I'd expect it to be Gordon and Brown starting and not Westbrook. But, I'm not going to do the Josh Engelman thing where we shit on Westbrook for the hell of it. But he is like a guy where, he doesn't hit threes. He doesn't defend very well. Does a lot of things we like for fantasy, but like in terms of a team that if you want to win a championship, you probably don't want Russ in your starting 5 at this point in his career. Brown, my guy, he respects coin and He does respect coin. He does respect coin. He does shoot pretty well, so that doesn't hurt for your prop betting for sure. Miles Bridges, we talked about again. I have a really big stand in favor of him. 5% for the field, 44% for me. I gotta think Stokastic is going to get more of a projection on him and get him up. But really, Miles Bridges, to me, whenever you get the key guys out, he's just going to shoot a lot. You have a lot of guys on Charlotte now that love to shoot. It is a tough matchup on paper versus Clippers. Defense is pretty good. Not a high-paced team either. I want a few teams that are about the same kind of low pace as the Hornets. But I think you take your shot at Bridges. I don't know if I'm going to land with 45 if the field's going to be at 5. But I'll have at least a quarter of my lineups with Bridges today. I think he's your tournament option at 5% that I see a really compelling reason why to think he could be there in the spot. If the Hornets get blown out, I guess it'd be your one thing where he misses. They don't score a lot in his stints. Maybe doesn't get that fourth quarter run. You have enough wings to not play Bridges, I guess, in the fourth quarter. So that's the one caveat I guess I would give. But if the game stays and competitive enough into the fourth quarter, I think Bridges is probably a big reason that would be the case. Jalen Duren with no Isaiah Stewart. We talked about the minutes being a little bit higher. I'm at 30.2. I think you could maybe make the case to go to 31, 32, but you're trying to kind of get the middle band of that projection for minutes in general. So for Jalen Duren, I think he looks pretty good again at 6,200. Minutes been good for him. Production's been good for him. I have about 1.4 fantasy points higher than Stokastic does today. And as a result, I'm getting him in 46%, or actually 43% of my top 150 lineups compared to the field's 19. Malik Beasley. So that's going to go up, though, because I think, Stokastic didn't have Stewart, or had Stewart in, didn't adjust things. So Duren will probably come up in their ownership as well. I'm not sure. I don't think he'll come up quite as much as I have him, but maybe a little bit more. Malik Beasley, 39%. He's another guy that benefits from no Jaden Ivey out there. I have him at 27.8 fantasy points today in his 27 minutes. Not a lot to talk about with that, really. Edwards likely starting again. It's either him or Council that probably gets the run of minutes for the most part, filling in from Paul George. Edwards, 31% compared to the field's 12. Field doesn't want to play him as much because the prices come up. He's playing about 28 minutes a game. He can get hot from 3. And if Philly hangs in tight with Denver, with the totals being somewhat competitive, does feel like it would be probably Edwards knocking down a few more threes to help that out. Even though mostly Maxey, Kelly Oubre are your main guys that probably keep Denver, from running away with that one if they did run away with it. Edwards is one guy where he can get hot and can get a few shots in there that contribute to them not getting smoked by Jokic in Denver. Anything else to note here? Quentin Grimes got a little bit here per usual with Luka out at 4,300. Price tags come down enough. Take a shot. Kevin Porter Jr. will be played by about a third of the field. I'm flat with it. I don't love the projection on him. I have him 18.8 compared to Stokastic's 21.4, but he's 3,500 and a good per minute producer, and pretty good shot that they do light up Charlotte here. The second unit with Porter could certainly be a big part of that. So I get the logic for Porter, but that's a lot of ownership for a guy coming off the bench playing under 20 minutes. And Kelly Oubre, decent value. Devin Vassell, about a third of lineups with both those guys. Sort of it for value right now. We're doing game by game here, guys. And again, if you appreciate this content, if you get any value out of it, 2 things to ask. First of all, please like and subscribe down below. We're on that march to 1K subs. Our first 1K subs here with the channel being about 2.5 months old, maybe a little bit more than that. Trying to get to the first 1K here by the All-Star break, and you could be a big part of that. About 60% of people that watch the channel are not subscribed. And look, it does help me out a lot here, those vanity metrics. And at this point, getting the ads going on YouTube when we hit 1,000 subs is a key part of things here. So please subscribe. It does go a long way for me here. And check out Unabated. They're presenting sponsor of the show. I had a good talk with them today. Going to show you actually some of the ROI numbers they have on the year when we get to that part of the segment. But really, Unabated is a great partner here. They care about getting you guys on board. They also have really good performances overall in terms of how the ROIs look for the year, return on investment for betting with their data. So we'll talk more about it in the moment. We're going to, of course, go to Unabated and show you some of the best bets. But really, I couldn't do the show. I wouldn't be doing this show every day if it weren't for Unabated. So if you want to see content like this continue, please check out Unabated. Click the link in the description. Use promo code SPLASH. Get $30 off a monthly membership on there. And thank you for that, Christian. I appreciate you've been watching some MLB. I haven't done MLB in a while, but I have done MLB before, and maybe you'll be doing it again this year. We'll see. Clippers, 110.8 implied points. Charlotte, 97.8 implied points. So Clippers currently a 13-point favorite on the road in Charlotte. As we mentioned here, a down pace spot. Clippers technically getting paced down. Faintest bit of a pace up for Charlotte. Both teams, though, around 98 possessions per game is not a good mark overall. Expect there to be some efficiency on the Clippers side. That said, you do have Kawhi Leonard in for some minutes. We have James Harden in as well. Everybody's in for the Clippers. Powell and Zubac, 2 guys who feel like they should have gotten all-star berths, sounds like, based on some of the media reports out there. They also could be playing with a chip on their shoulder, taking some more usage away. It's a tough spot to go to Clippers overall. If you already hit an outlier performance here, you certainly would have a pretty good situation going against the Hornets defense. So you want to take your shots at a low on Harden, you can. Low on Powell, a little bit less so. Yeah, I mean, I think these guys all look okay. Even Powell at 7.5% is probably unfair with the all-star snub narrative. Sure, can give a little bit of a boost. Yeah, the Clippers, to me, I'd have a hard time playing him. First game on the slate, giving up a good amount of salary. That does make them an appealing tournament option. If this game were somehow competitive as well, they would look good. Kevin Porter Jr., as Van Dam wants to talk about here, I really have some doubts on Kevin Porter Jr. here. It's a nice, blowouty kind of matchup. But if the game isn't a blowout, if the Hornets stay competitive, that does hurt Kevin Porter Jr. So maybe there's some logic where if you play Bridges, you give a boost to Harden, Zubac, Powell, probably still not Kawhi with his minutes being capped still. But maybe you capture that then, and then you get leverage on Porter, because Porter's not going to play as many minutes if the game does stay competitive, because they really don't even want him in the rotation. They just kind of have to have him in the rotation right now because Chris Dunn is out. So I really have a hard time with Kevin Porter Jr. I appreciate the comments. Rock the data. Thank you. I do the best I can. And was actually typing the question if you do MLB content. Yeah, I mean, I have in the past. I haven't the last couple of years. Obviously, this, I would think the skill doesn't go away, but it just hasn't aligned for me with the football content I've been doing and, in general, the work I've had. So might be hopping back in MLB this year, but we will see. It depends on if there's money to be made doing it. It's really the main thing for me in terms of just, partnerships and all that. Charlotte, 97.8 implied points. So big pro stand on Miles Bridges right now. As I mentioned, you do have the blowout risk here. The fact, too, that, the Clippers are a good defense. Like, if you're going to stop anybody in this team, it's Miles Bridges. If you stop Miles Bridges, you probably win the game. So that's your risk reward for Miles Bridges. But if he does get shots up, if he does do well here, he's averaged, I have him for about 1.45 fantasy points a minute. As I talked about, he's been at 1.3 overall in court time without LaMelo and without Brandon Miller. You throw Mark Williams on top of that, there's just more stats to go around in every category for a guy like Bridges, and maybe the competitive game brings out something in him. Like maybe this is his show and prove spot. So partnership, but no, Dabble only wants free promo from fucking fake accounts in the YouTube chat. They don't want to pay me. But I'm here. If Dabble wants to ring the bell, they can. Yeah, so Bridges, to me, key part here. If Charlotte hangs in there, he probably makes the Clippers plays more competitive as well, because they're getting closer to 4 minutes of or 4 quarters rather of play if Bridges has a good game. I think he's kind of a key spot here. Going to be careful about being too high on him, though, because this would be a really big stand to have in the first game of the slate, completely lose my late swap ability and all that for Bridges, with him being projected for 5% ownership, which honestly seems really low, too. I don't know if he's going to hold it that low. Josh Okogie, so had to knock his minutes down a little bit because initially Stokastic did not have Josh Green in. Josh Green probably starts and plays about 25 to 30 minutes, so I have him today at 28. As a result, everybody here looks less good besides Bridges. Micic, Nick Smith, the Kogi. You got too many bodies in. KJ Simpson is not with the G League. He's available. Isaiah Wong's available. Like, they have enough guys now, even with LaMelo and Brandon Miller out. Obviously, Miller out for the year. LaMelo out probably for another week or so. He'll probably be out for the All-Star break, if I had to guess at this point. For Charlotte, though, they have still an 11-man rotation. So having Josh Green in matters a lot here. Okogie, I don't think, is as good of a value play. But he could certainly get off the bench and play well. He's been about a 1 fantasy point per minute guy on the year. I'd have him around there today. But these guys, to me, getting kind of crowded now. Diabate, though, is the one guy not getting crowded. Again, this 29.7 minute projection, I think, is too high. If I had to guess, it should be like 26, 27. If you get him at that many minutes, his projection drops to about 24 and a half, 25. That would make Diabate, to me, less of a chalk must-have play like he looks right now. He crushed last slate. I had doubts for him. Thought he looked good visually as well from what I saw from him playing in the game. Certainly, Taj Gibson is not really a player at this point who you want to have out there for many minutes if you're the Hornets. So Diabate being out there, as long as he gets into foul trouble, he'll be okay chalk, but definitely I think not 55% chalk if I had to guess. More like 40 to 50 max would be it because the minutes are just too high right now. Dallas, 114.8 implied points. Detroit, 113.8. Not any big stands on Dallas here. Kyrie Irving, all-star snub narrative, though. I think if anybody's going to kind of play that a slow roll in it, probably would be Kyrie. Your best hope for Kyrie having an outlier day here would, I think, be Cade Cunningham, Beasley, Duren going on the other side. Detroit really making it a tough game because Kyrie has perked up a lot in games lately. Versus we talked about Minnesota. That was one where you really kind of saw Kyrie at the heights. Versus Washington, you see him hit the heights less. So if a game is tight, you're going to see Kyrie push it a little bit more. 8,800, though, is pretty steep price tag, but 3.5% ownership. I'd get the logic and go in there, even though I'm not personally, I don't think I'm going to go out of my way to get Kyrie. Maybe you could give him a boost in lineups with Cade Cunningham, I guess. Especially for me to get away from Bridges. So maybe I get a little bit of Kyrie. Daniel Gafford here playing Jalen Duren a lot. So you guys kind of play a similar game. Gafford at 7,400. Price tags getting tough for Gafford. PJ Washington, as Tango talks about in the chat. Gafford and Washington have been unreal lately. They have. The issue is now you're paying that full price for them. Still have them as being playable over 5x values, and they certainly can outscore it again. Price sensitivity is such an important part of DFS when guys are coming up as much as they are. 1 point Gafford was at 5K. PJ Washington was at 6, maybe a little bit less than that. Now we're talking mid 7s. You're getting a lot of that upside kind of priced out, but they could still get there. Detroit's competitive game here, 1 point spread here favoring Dallas on the road. So I have no issue going to Gafford and Washington and them both being under 10% owned. If you were to get 2x the field on him, I don't think that'd be a bad move. Klay Thompson, I wouldn't chase his recent success. He got hot from 3 one game. I don't know what else is there. Minutes are also kind of capped for him right now, so you're not really going to get too well on either side. If you like him, you can. 6% of the field will be there. Quentin Grimes, I always get him when Luke is out. It's still the case here. I have him for 1 fantasy point minute today with the amount that he gets in terms of a boost here in usage, rebounds, and assists with Luke out. But Quentin Grimes, really one of those plays I have a hard time advocating for because he's just failed so many times. With Klay Thompson and especially Jaden Hardy, Grimes getting enough minutes. I think he's an okay play to mix in, but I don't think he's like a priority or a core play by any stretch. Detroit here, pretty big exposure to Cade Cunningham and Jalen Duren. As I mentioned, Stokastic did an update for Isaiah Stewart being out, so their numbers are going to be a little bit off here. In terms of the ownership, Duren, I do think those going to come up to about 25 to 33 would be my guess. Just a few more minutes that he'll get with Stewart being out. Paul Reed at 3K minimum. If Jalen Duren were to fail, it's probably because Paul Reed got a few more minutes. Maybe Duren gets foul trouble or just Reed played well enough that he somehow closed over Duren. Paul Reed at 3K minimum, I think is worth some looks in the same way that Rashawn Holmes is worth looks yesterday as kind of your lever against Jonas Valanciunas. I don't think Rashawn Holmes won anything really, but he did help you probably cash more over the 40% of JVal. So same principle here for Paul Reed, though he's, good per minute player is really the main thing for Paul Reed. 1.2 fantasy points per minute on the year. Well, 1.15, we're rounding up. Cade, I like, again, getting him in 33% of lineups, so big Sam against the field. Duren, 43%. Beasley getting 39% here. Low on Tobias, which is always the case. Beasley's been basically the better player in every facet this year, averaging 0.9 fantasy points per minute compared to Tobias's 0.8, averaging 58% true shooting compared to Tobias's 54. So we are team Beasley here. And Tim Hardaway Jr. has been awful on the year. Still shoots better than Tobias, but not as frequently. Only 15% usage, so it's kind of Cade, Duren, Beasley, or bust here for me. But ownership going to all these guys, it seems. Denver, 121.8 going into Philadelphia here. Implied points. Jokic, 15% for me, 14% for the field. Again, you're going to get a lot of Giannis for the field today. Getting Jokic makes perfectly logical sense when you know that in advance. Jamal Murray, I've not been there very often, though we did see in that game at the Garden, if Jokic fails, Murray's probably more likely to get there. So if you're not playing Jokic, you want to boost Murray, you could do that. But Jokic is low enough owned today that I don't know if today is the day to really try to go out of your way to get leverage on Jokic. But Murray, look, Murray's good every few games. This could be one of the games again, even though he was good last time out. So, maybe it doesn't happen again so soon based on how it's gone for him this year. Russell Westbrook's still starting here, even with Aaron Gordon joining the starting lineup, as we talked about. That could change any given day, so maybe watch out for the starting lineup for Denver as we get there. That game starts today, I presume 7:30. Yeah, 7:30 for Denver, Philadelphia. So for Westbrook, assuming that he keeps that starting job, they don't put Brown back in. He looks good right now. Fifth of the field feels like a lot, but soft matchup for Philadelphia without any big men to keep him off the rim. Aaron Gordon, if he's starting again, he should be. No matter what, I think Gordon starts. My concern to be Brown starting over Westbrook at some point. But Gordon, probably not the highest ceiling play in the world, but he's going to do well for you at 4,400. Kind of feels more like a cash game play the more that I look at it, but I got him in 55% of my top 150 lineups. That $4,400 salary works well if you don't have value on the slate. If other value opens up, I'd be willing to move away from Gordon because I just don't think he gets you like 35 even. You can get you 30, but 35 is pushing it. I don't mind Aaron Gordon. I'm high on him right now relative to my ownership. But I think there's a little bit of concern for me that he's going to be in a lot of lineups, and I don't know if the ceiling is really that high. Especially if we expect Jokic to do well, Westbrook to do some part of it. Somebody kind of has to fail there, I think, for Gordon to have a true slate breaking ceiling at 4,400. But he is way too cheap. I fully agree, he's way too cheap. Philadelphia, 112.3 implied points here. I'm a little bit low on Maxey. Don't really want to be, but that's the way it worked out. Me being 0.5 fantasy points lower than Stokastic. A little bit high on Oubre. That's the way that worked out, with me being 0.5 higher on Oubre. I'd love to swap these, I guess, but then I'd just be flat with the field on Stokastic then. Really, Maxey and Oubre, if this game is close, probably those guys having good days. Yabu can knock down some threes, but the rejection is not really there for me today. I'll give him at 1% of my top 150, and I'm not going to try to maneuver that too much. Justin Edwards is my big stand here. 28 minutes for him. Fields got him at 12% ownership. I honestly don't know why I have him this high. He hasn't been great starting so far, but he does have the ability to knock down some threes. Denver, not a great defense, but will try to sell out, I think, to stop Maxey, maybe to a lesser extent, try to stop Oubre with some good defenders. You probably see Justin Edwards getting like Russ floating off him, Murray floating off him a lot. It could be a spot for Edwards to knock down some threes. So I'm not going to run away from my 31% ownership here. I think there is a little bit of a basketball logic to it. It's a lot of ownership for a guy at 12% who has failed a couple times recently as, decent starting chalk. Chicago, no Zach LaVine again. Despite that, not a lot of ownership for me for anybody here. Getting 10% of Vucevic, 10% of Kobe White. Fields going to have 25% of Kobe White, which feels like a lot, but he's 5,900. He does get a bit of an uptick in court time without Zach LaVine. Lonzo Ball, 27% for my sim exposure, grid of 17. About 25-minute projection for him at 4,700 is really the main reason there. These guys all get boosted with LaVine out, but they're not really big enough where one guy stands out as a monster. Josh Giddey is the one that I think maybe looks the best, averages about 1.2 and change. Fantasy Sports Window without Zach LaVine, but still gave him the rates that he has, and he didn't come up enough for me. I just have a pretty deep rotation for Chicago. A lot of guys getting a good amount of usage. So nobody stands out that much for me, but I really don't have a gripe with them in a competitive spot against Toronto. Toronto 118 implied points here, 118.3. RJ Barrett's pretty chalky. I still got a little bit more than the field of him. I do always get a good amount of Barrett in games that Quickly's in for this one potentially. Quickly's questionable though. No guarantee that he is going to be in. Price tag for Barrett, though, it's $7,300. He's $2,100 cheaper than Scotty Barnes. And the fantasy production on the year, as you could see, 1.16 for Barrett, 1.22 for Barnes. Even though we like Barnes more because he contributes more as a rebounder, as an assist man, the assist rate's not that far off on the year. And honestly, the rebound rate's not either, with Barrett getting more usage. These guys to me look like much more similar plays than their salaries do. So I do generally get more Barnes or more Barrett if he's going to be cheaper. Barnes, though, does have that massive upside that I don't think Barrett has. So both guys credible plays, but Barrett is going to be owned, and it's basically it. Barnes is not very owned, though, at 3%. 9,400 is kind of a tough price tag, though, especially if Quickly's in. Quickly's out, though. Barnes will look better. Barrett will look better. Grady Dick will look better. Bruce Brown will look better. Everybody's going to look a little bit better because of Quickly being out if he does end up out. Milwaukee, 118.8 implied points. We're going to hit unabated in a moment, guys, so stay tuned. Of course, the DFS lineup sim as well coming up, so bear with me here as we go game by game, and I read you a bunch of data points at once. We got Giannis here, so 41% for the field, 26% for me. You talked about it up top. I think he's your best value or your best pay-up option on the slate, and add the 1,100 salary, 11.5 salary, a little bit of a value compared to Jokic. So the issue is because it's cheaper than Jokic and the projections are close, and I would have Giannis favored by a little bit. You're getting so much more Giannis, and I think it's more logical to try to get even amounts, or at least closer to even on Jokic. If I'm going to fade Giannis at least 15% off the field, I'd like to get Jokic maybe 5% more, get Wemby 5% more, because I think one of these guys here is a pay-up option, looks good enough to have that tournament winning upside. And I would say in a spot versus San Antonio here for Milwaukee, Giannis has done well enough versus Wemby in the past. I have no issue with him here. That's a lot of ownership, though. It's a lot of ownership at 40%. If that holds. Damian Lillard, 14% for the field, 6% for me, so I'm under on him. He's a 5x value. I actually have him higher projected, and Stokastic does too, but not a priority spot for me. You want to go to Lillard, try to chase back for your what we talked about with Lillard bombing the other day. Maybe you can get that right today here. The matchup mattering less than it did versus Portland. And Chris Middleton, under the field to him, but he'll be played by about 11% of the field. Bobby Portis still out for his personal issues, so that's why that'd be the case for Middleton. San Antonio, no, because Quickly is in. So if it's happening quickly, you're not going to like Dick as much, is how the thought process should go. But yeah, just less minutes if Quickly's going to play. Obviously, Quickly's questionable. Dick would then look better in your holes and your lineups if you do get Quickly out. But with Quickly in, I probably would not play Dick, even at a fair enough price tag. It's affordable to get Dick, but it's not a spot you really want to plug Dick in today. San Antonio, Devin Vassell, 27% ownership for the field, 36% for me. A lot of Devin Vassell here. I don't love that stand, but he's a mid-price here, shooting guard, small forward, 6,100. So it is what it is. He does feel like the kind of guy, this much ownership going his way, you could find other guys who'll give you a similar floor, similar ceiling. But really at this point, Devin Vassell, it's a lot of Devin Vassell. It's almost if that was the bit. So I give the people what they want. They want Dick puns. You're going to get it. You don't give them a deeper dive today. It's like Baji project. Well, if we are Dickless tonight, I don't think we're worried about Dick as much as Quickly. Are they both in the? I think they're both in the injury report, right? Let me just make that sure that's the case. So honestly, I don't even want to look this up. No, I would still not play Agbaji. He would be more of a play, but yeah. So Grady Dick is questionable as well. Yeah, more of a play, still not really a play. Davion Mitchell's the one who becomes more of a play, but I know we do the bit of the deeper dive, right? Like I like Davion Mitchell one day, and of course Josh has to say that I like Davion Mitchell every day. Davion Mitchell is more of a play now, but he's still not really a play because you have enough guys in with Quickly or with Barrett, with Barnes, with also having guys like Bruce Brown in right now. Like Bruce Brown actually kind of upsets things a little bit because he's playing like at a high usage role that he hasn't had a lot in Toronto. He's basically, I've said it a few times on streams, he's playing like he used to play in Detroit when nobody was available on the team. When he played in the G League, like same thing where he's got a lot of shots up, good amount of assists, good amount of rebounds. So that's it. But yeah, really at this point, Agbaji, I would never really want to play. Yeah, Agbaji got the start last game, but it's just like a useless role for the most part. Like Dick, you could play a little bit because he gets threes up and whatever. He gets it up for three. But for Agbaji, he just stands out there. Like, I don't know. That's how that looks. San Antonio, we talked about Wemby as well. If you want to get there, he's your only not owned at all. Pay up option, you could do that. Boston, New Orleans here. So Zion's questionable. This one wrote that up for the DK Network today. Matters quite a bit because if Zion plays, all of his markets, all the Pelicans markets are really mispriced. You should take the unders on PRAs. That's one thing to note. Second part of it is that if Zion's out, these guys will look much better. If Zion's in, he's a great tournament play, I think. So an important one for Zion right now, who's questionable with a non-COVID illness again, which I guess we specify non-COVID illnesses at this point. Apparently happy for the NBA injury report. For Boston, these guys all look like decent tournament options here, facing a soft New Orleans team. And, 11 points spread favoring Boston on the road. Hopefully competitive enough. For Tatum, 14% for the field. I'm about right with that. Jaylen Brown, a little bit above it, 17.5% compared to 18.5% for me. Porzingis, I'm a little bit low on, a little bit high on Pritchard, a little bit low on Drew Holiday, a little bit low on Derek White. But Boston looks like a good team to go to. Nice high total for them. Good matchup. A little bit of a pace up technically, and New Orleans doesn't defend well, so that's really all the stuff you're looking for in any spot overall. Zion too busy being freaky. Zion too busy with his porn addiction, his food addiction. Guys, one of us. That's Zion. New Orleans, 110.8 implied points. Zion right now, I'm getting him at 7% compared to Fields 2. He's averaged 1.7 fantasy points per minute this year with Brandon Ingram off the court. If Zion does play today, I would take a shot at it because he's going to be low owned, and he's really the only way New Orleans hangs in this game, really, versus Boston. Yeah, I would think. If he's out, DeJounte Murray looks better. Trey Murphy looks better. CJ McCollum looks better. You'll get more minutes for Robinson Earl, I would guess. Also, Jordan Hawkins is out, so that I didn't update for that. I never update for that part. But for Zion, though, right now, we don't know his status. But if he plays, I think he looks good. If he's out, you're going to have a lot more minutes to go around here. These guys will look better. But you do run the risk of them being more likely to get blown out by Boston. They would probably need, if Zion is out, probably need to have a good Murray day, a good Trey Murphy day, a good CJ McCollum day. Like you might have, if this game's competitive, you might have like these three guys hitting, and then one of the Celtics hitting would be my thought. Again, I don't really advocate for game stacks here, but if you find a lineup where you get like, if Zion's out, where you got Murray, Murphy, McCollum, 2 out of the 3, and you get a Tatum, Brown, even Porzingis, there's something to this game, I think, where it's not going to be owned enough. And the last game is not on FanDuel or DK. I think it's on the Underdog Dog Bowl slate, but I'm not going to look at the Phoenix Golden State game, right? That's the last one. Yeah, Phoenix Golden State, I didn't pull into the sheet, so you get what you get there. But you know what time it is, guys. We've done now my DFS look here. We're going to still do a DFS sim in a moment. But you guys got to check out Unabated and all their great data and tools. You got to check out this sweet video along the way as well to learn all about Unabated's conditional NBA projections right now. Oh, check it all that data. You get expert NBA projections. Justin Fan, the man who made Underdog data, the man who made Fantasy Labs data, the man who made Basketball Monster data. He's now doing it unabated for the bettors. So check that out. Your boy Justin Fan. Dynamic projections. Who's in, who's out. Literally that one today. Those guys are both questionable. It really worked out well to use that for the video. It's DeJounte Murray and Zion are questionable every day. NBA news. One thing they told me today when I was meeting with Unabated, apparently their news is like about a good minute faster than Underdog generally. So one thing, if you want a little bit of an edge, check that out. And check out these graphs, you sick fucks. You graph-loving bitches. You pieces of shit who love graphs. check it out. And you can chat. You can go check out the expert live stream as well. You know, the people that stream that. And you'll be counting your money with your dirty gambling hands. Check out this little data point as well, which I don't show you guys enough here. You want to see what you'd be getting results-wise with Unabated. They update this every single week. You'd be winning right now if you place $100 bets on all the bets that Unabated gives you. 30 minutes before tip-off that have a 5% or more edge with the Sims tools I'm going to show you guys in a minute. You would be up almost $40,000 right now. So obviously, if you're placing $10 bets, you'd be up $4,000. And I don't do a good enough job telling you guys or showing you guys here your actual results you'd be getting with Unabated. We show you the betting tools here every day. You see a few bets. There's a lot more in here. And if you're hitting them all, like we talk about, volume being king for any sort of expected value-based betting, you can be doing a lot better for yourself, building your bankroll for this DFS tournaments or just winning money off of betting. So check it out for yourself at Unabated. Again, they're a great sponsor of the show, and you get $30 off with the link in the description or use promo code SPLASH at unabated.com. Check it out. Really, that graph speaks for itself more, and I've not pulled it up once on screen. So now you're going to have to look at that graph every fucking day. Until enough of you sign up. The beatings will continue until enough people sign up for Unabated because it's a great tool. I also talked to Unabated too. I might use their minutes at some point because with Stokastic not updating their minutes enough, I want to have that good to go. So we're going to see if we could find a way to use their minutes for the video as well. Thanks, Larry. I talked about it yesterday. Burst some blood vessels in my face throwing up, but thank you for your concern. Thank you for always love when men are concerned about other men's appearances on stream. It's really a normal thing. But thank you for that. Yes, I have red spots here, Threw up so violently that the pressure squeezed my blood vessels and made them pop. So that's unfortunately what happens sometimes. But also, go fuck yourself, Larry. At the same time. Sim EV is here for points. Your best bet right now for points. Najee Marshall, 18% EV. That's right. It is not shitting. As our guy Robert Griffin III left a comment for me yesterday. His brother once burst blood vessels in his face from shitting. So mine from the other end. Mine from vomiting. 18% EV, under 8.5 points for him. Minus 120 odds on FanDuel Sportsbook. It's your best bet for Najee Marshall right now and under 8.5 points. DraftKings Sportsbook as well, under 8.5 points on there at minus 130 odds. Gets you 14% EV. So Najee Marshall on your regular sportsbooks, not your pick'em sites. Go take it right now, under 8.5 points for Najee. Josh Okogie here, over 8.5 points for him. 9.7% EV for minus 120 odds on FanDuel Sportsbook for Josh Okogie, over 8.5 points. You probably don't want anywhere else. So Josh Okogie only on FanDuel, over 8.5 points at minus 120 odds. Chris Middleton under 12.5 points, plus 100 odds here on DraftKings Sportsbook. Gets you 8.3% EV. You don't want on your pick'em sites. Those have been faded out enough here. So Middleton under 12.5 points on DraftKings. And is it on FanDuel? Probably don't want it on 5. Honestly, if they're saying over 5%, maybe I should just start saying over 5% as well. Chris Middleton under 12.5 points on FanDuel. 5.7% EV. So there you go. Yes, hit the like button or you might not be straight. To be clear, I don't care if you're straight or gay. You still should hit the like button equally. It has no impact on your sexuality and your predispositions, your choices, whatever you want to call it. Keldon Johnson over 10. What a ridiculous thing to say. Over 10.5 points, plus 104 odds on FanDuel Sportsbook. 7.3% EV for Keldon Johnson on FanDuel. That is over 10.5 points for him. Exactly. Why not both? For the bisexuals too, please. For everything in between, anything under the rainbow, you can hit the like button. There's nothing stopping you. Brandon Pajemski under 8.5 points. Good to go on PrizePicks and Underdog. You're getting 7.1% EV on there. A little bit under the 8% mark that we're normally aspiring to, but 5% or more, you're better. All right. I gotta tell you, man, I'm gonna give you a timeout. It's not the channel to do that, man. It's not like some fucking homophobe channel. Like, people get whatever they want. They can do whatever they want. It's just, please, guys. I know we love to do the bits, but like, that's not the vibes. I have a son. Would I prefer he's not gay? For sure. His life would be a lot easier. It'd be a lot easier for everybody. If he's gay, though, what am I going to fucking go, oh, no, you can't hit the like button. You can fucking hit that like button whatever you want. Come on, dude. I appreciate the sentiment behind it, but that's not the way. That's not the way. We got under 2.5 rebounds for Josh Green here. No, man. Sorry. That's not the move. Take a lap. That's fucking gross shit. Don't fucking put that in my chat or you will like legit get banned forever. I'm sorry. I gotta draw the line. I know we got different people. I'm not getting political on the stream. Don't fucking say shit like that in my channel. Can't be more clear about you. Let's load this back up. I had gay cousins growing up and shit who were the best people in my life. One of them wrote my college recommendation because he was a head of art at the Met. You don't fucking come in here talking shit about gay people. It's just not the vibe ever here. So fucking get it right. Don't get it twisted. Please, you believe whatever the fuck you want. Don't put it in the chat. We'll move on though, because I'm not going to dwell on it. Nor should you. Nor should you. Let's get the best bets in here again. Got logged out here. Convenient timing. So I get a lecture in between. You don't get me to break the veneer very often on stream, guys, but that's just not, as men, it's your fucking job to not be pieces of shit to other men and other people like that. You deserve it, and I'll do it for fun right now. We got Nicholas Batum here, under 3.5 rebounds, -140 odds on DraftKings Sportsbook, gets a 12.3% EV. Amir Coffey, under 2.5 rebounds, +120 odds on FanDuel, gets a 16.2% EV. Tim Hardaway Jr., under 2.5 rebounds, +100 odds on DraftKings Sportsbook, gets you 11.5% EV. We got Ausar Thompson. We got Josh, don't be needy. Ausar Thompson, under 5.5 rebounds. PrizePicks, 11.4% EV. Spencer Dinwiddie, under 2.5 rebounds, 11% EV. You're getting a lot of EV on rebounds here, guys. I'd really encourage you to take some of these. Kevin Porter Jr., we got under 3.5 rebounds for him, -145 odds on DraftKings Sportsbook, 11.1% EV. DK is not there. There's freewheeling here. That's all DraftKings, not updating lines. So that's how that looks. But lots of plus EV rebound bets. Pause the screen if you want. Grab them yourself. It's bad days in a row. Need a winning night. Welcome to DFS, my friend. R. Stanley, you've been doing this for a while, man. Let's take a go. Let's sim out these assists, though. Yeah, I've had a couple bad nights in a row, too, and their reason is the not Nikola Jokic. Jonas Valanciunas. Sorry, I don't want me to misblame the wrong Eastern European guy. People getting weird about homophobia, which is not going to happen in the chat. Can't be more clear enough. Save your homophobic thoughts and concerns for other channels. But that's what you walked into. Josh Okogie, over 1.5. And I will always be dead real about that, guys. That's not cool. I saw a lot of bad shit when I was at Barstool. People being fucking weird, calling me gay slurs. I'm as far from gay as you could be. Look at this tough heterosexual man here. But like legit, that's one of my triggers. So just don't do it. Do it for your other YouTube channels if you need to. But don't do it in general, really. Be a better person would be my hope. Josh Okogie, over 1.5 assists for him, +120 odds on DraftKings Sportsbook. It's a 20% EV. Klay Thompson, under 2.5 assists, -154 odds on DraftKings Sportsbook. It's a 10.5% EV. Jason Tatum, over 5 assists for him. Good to go on PrizePicks, 8.4% EV on there. Vasilij Micic, under 5.5 assists for him, -128 odds on FanDuel Sportsbook. Gets you 8.3% EV. And Derek White here, again, we're talking about the over 5% EVs. You could play Derek White under 3.5 assists, -110 odds on FanDuel Sportsbook. Gets you 6.1% EV. And last but not least, we'll hit PRAs. Of course, a lot more than Unabated. You can see here some of the conditional guys we don't have. So we're not seeing any Toronto players, not seeing any Pelicans players as a result of these guys being Q tags, but keep that in mind. All right. Let's send this out here. I appreciate it, Running Man. I mean, look, I know we legit have, like, at least on the Splash Play NFL channel, like, there are people that are, like, gay people who watch the channel, and I would not ever not stand up for them. So that's, unfortunately, if you feel differently about it, probably in the wrong spot. But hey, it's Friday, guys. We're talking, having fun here. Fun Fridays, debating the approaches to homophobia. We got Tim Hardaway Jr. under 6. You gotta laugh because otherwise you cry. Under 16.5 PRAs here for Tim Hardaway Jr. -120 odds on DK Sportsbook. It's a 10.9% EV. Not available anywhere else. All these books today, seemingly one book is wrong over and over again, and the rest of them are all updated. We got Buddy Hield, under 15.5 PRAs. Good to go on PrizePicks, 10.6% EV. You don't want anywhere else. Devin Booker, all-star snub, but you're fading him today. Under 38.5 PRAs at -120 odds on DraftKings Sportsbook. Gets you 10% EV. Kawhi Leonard, under 26.5 PRAs. -110 odds on DraftKings Sportsbook. Gets you 9% EV for Kawhi Leonard today. Fading him is really easy to do at this point with his minutes load and how he's played this year. We got Ausar Thompson, 8.7% EV, under 16.5 PRAs, -115 odds on DraftKings Sportsbook, and good enough on PrizePicks and Underdog as well. You're getting 7.5% EV for under 16.5 PRAs. And Josh Okogie, 8.7% EV on PrizePicks, over 14 PRAs for him. Really, Okogie, a big disappointment in DFS recently, but still playing enough minutes at this point. And this one works too. Kevin Porter Jr. under 13.5 PRAs, -1 10 odds on DraftKings Sportsbook. That gets you 8.6% EV. These are your best bets according to Unabated. Again, a great tool here. You saw. If you're just tuning in, I'm going to make you look at it one more time. Check. We love graphs on this channel. Look at this graph. That's your graph of profitability. If you just followed Unabated's player props, all the ones above 5% EV here that we're showing on stream here, and the additional ones they have. So check it out for yourself, Unabated. They're a great partner here. If you want to support this channel, you want to show love, you want to make sure I keep doing these fucking streams, please hit that button down below. Click Unabated. Go check them out. Promo code SPLASH gets you $30 off. Let's see what Stokastic has for us now. Shout out to S-Mitch for this fine super chat. I appreciate you a bunch. Thank you for your hard work. I appreciate you being here. 190 you fine people watching. Please subscribe. Please do it all here because I will continue to show up, do the work Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. every day, showing you my projections, showing you data from Stokastic, from Unabated. And the goal here is always going to make sure to get you guys as prepared as possible for an NBA slate. And shit's going to change over the next few hours. That's how NBA goes every night. But I will be here. I'm living up my end of the promise. Please live up your end. Hit the like button, subscribe, and don't be a homophobe. I guess that's the contract you sign when you join a Splash Play channel. Is like, just be chill here and don't be weird about gay people. Those two things. You're a graphophile. You're allowed. You're allowed to hit the like button if you're a graphophile. Anyway. Sabonis not making an all-star, a black eye for NBA. There's a lot of people that didn't make the all-star. The thing is, like, the roster should probably be bigger. Like Devin Booker was saying it. You had, like, enough snubs, like Trey, LaMelo on the Eastern Conference. Booker, I think, is a snub enough. Sabonis, I would agree, is a snub. When you have that many rebounds, that many assists, you're doing everything. But it's also, like, just what does the all-star game mean at this point? Is the other thing I would ask you to that. Just because of the fact that, like, at this point, guys don't want to play the game. I do agree. I know our pal Josh Engelman's talked about it a lot, but like the idea of maybe more so looking at the format as like a young versus old thing, and then you get a bigger roster for that. I think that'd be fun too. They're just thinking of the wrong ways to spice up the All-Star game, and I don't know. I like Adam Silver a lot. I feel like he kind of misses the forest from the trees a lot with the various initiatives that he does and the things that he changes and doesn't change. And I like the Elam ending and stuff, but it also comes down to like self-policing for the players too, and like making sure they actually try. Like Kobe would never allow these guys to not try like this. And I'm not like the Kobe stan of all Kobe stans, but like LeBron should be the one that's like, hey fuckers, can we fucking do something here and not embarrass ourselves on TV again? That's me. Thank you, CM3. I appreciate it. And thank you, Robert Griffin Turd, always. There we go. We are homophobes. I just like whenever I see that now, and I don't like, I know where we are in the world. I try really hard to keep my opinions to myself for the most part, but I'm not going to like normalize stuff that's weird. I can't do that, man. It's just not me. So you want to channel where the person's unapologetically them, then you get me here. Actually like the line for the dunk contest this year. No, I don't know. At least they're like young, interesting guys. Like Castle's a top 5 pick, so I get it. But I don't know. I think you want stars in. Like you want an RJ Barrett fucking, like you want your young guys who have some juice in the places they play for. I don't know why RJ Barrett's the first place my brain went to, but like you want like a mix of young guys that matter. I still think they could do it better, but you would have to put up a lot of money. You got to do the NBA Cup treatment. Give them $500K for the winner. Then they'll probably get more guys that matter and want to play. LeBron never had the makings of a varsity athlete. He's not a mafia don, so I guess he had more makings than certain other people out there did. Your top ROI lineup right now, according to Stokastic, and this one has been updated now, so we're getting their updated data as of 4:35 p.m. My data, not a part of this one, so keep that in mind. We got Tyrese Maxey, Kobe White, Asar Thompson, Aaron Gordon, Paul Reed, that 3K salary, filling in for Isaiah Stewart. You're going to get him a little bit with Stokastic, it seems like. Actually, you're going to get him a lot with Stokastic, it looks like. Jamal Murray, Jeremiah Robinson Earl, Nikola Jokic. Number 2, you have Kevin Porter Jr., Devin Vassell, RJ Barrett, my man for the dunk contest. Aaron Gordon. He's also like he's an okay in-game dunker. He's not absolutely not a guy for the dunk contest. I don't know that's why my brain went there. Aaron Gordon, Paul Reed, Kobe White, Jaylen Brown, Nikola Jokic. So a lot of value here. Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon is a value, Paul Reed a value, and you're getting enough pay up guys here, a couple mid-range guys. You can see how the lineup's kind of working out. Number 3, you have Cade Cunningham, Kobe White, Asar Thompson, Aaron Gordon, Paul Reed, Chris Paul, Quentin Grimes making it in, my boy Grimy, Nikola Jokic. Number 4, Tyrese Maxey, Gary Trent Jr. I have not seen that name once in the slate today, and I hope to never see it again. RJ Barrett, Aaron Gordon, Paul Reed again. Russell Westbrook, Zion in this one, Jakob Poeltl. I just think you're getting the one side here, or like a Zion playing side. And then I feel like with Robinson Earl, you're getting the Zion doesn't play side. But Zion's in the projection set, so for Stokastic right now, so keep that in mind. Number 5, Josh Giddey, Kobe White, Jaylen Brown, Michael Porter Jr., Paul Reed, DeJounte Murray, Devin Vassell, and Jalen Duren. So you're getting Paul Reed and Duren together here. So the starter and his backup. It seems like with how much Paul Reed you're getting, and again, he's $3K minimum, going to play 15 to 20 minutes, depending on how productive Jalen Duren is, / he gets into foul trouble and all that. I get Paul Reed as a value. If he's going to be played a lot by the sim, I think you want to play Jalen Duren more and just hope that he gets enough run. And then you don't get Paul Reed hitting his value and you kill a bunch of 3K lineups while also having a guy in the $5,000 range who's hitting his upside. So Jalen Duren's becoming a more interesting play, I think, looking at this. We got a good call here for FanDuel, $5 guaranteed overlay on FanDuel. If you want to check it out, there you go. I'll promote it, even though I'm not a FanDuel player. Overlay is the best thing you'd always do for yourself DFS-wise. We got Paul Reed, 2% ROI for him, $3,000 salary. Your only positive ROI guy in all of Stokastic's top 150 lineups. Of course, it's about the directional accuracy of this, so keep that in mind here, but it is important to note that he's got a positive ROI for when he's played, so he probably is worth the exposure, even though a lot of Paul Reed up top. Number 2, you have Nikola Jokic, negative 1.8% ROI. Number 3, Asar Thompson, negative 5%. Devin Vassell, negative 5.8%. Tyrese Maxey, negative 7. Kobe White, negative 7.6. Quentin Grimes, negative 8% ROIs for these guys. So technically, your top ROI players on the slate: Paul Reed, Nikola Jokic, Asar Thompson, Devin Vassell, Tyrese Maxey, Kobe White, and Quentin Grimes. Your top exposed players via Stokastic: you're getting 71% Paul Reed. That is so much for a backup. He will play minutes. Like, he's going to play 15 at the least, but he's got to crush those minutes for you if you're going to play him that much. But 43% leverage on Paul Reed. Kobe White, 65% compared to the field's 42. I am much lower on Kobe White. Nice price tag for him. I get it, but the Bulls have enough guys to fill in with Levine out again. Aaron Gordon, 59% compared to the field's 44. That one I'm on board with. He's a starter, playing well enough. I think he gets you 30 today, minutes-wise and probably projection-wise. But, ceiling's a little bit limited for a guy if you're going to be having half the lineups. But I think he's worth that half the lineups. You go a little bit more than this, I'd start to question a little bit more. Pretty big stand on Nikola Jokic, 45% compared to 17. So that is very much in favor of Nikola Jokic today, even though it did look like Giannis is going to be chalkier earlier. Tyrese Maxey, almost 2x the field on him. Devin Vassell, almost 2x the field on him. And a slight in favor stand on Kelly Oubre Jr. Your highest leverage guy is going to look very similar. Paul Reed, 43% leverage on him compared to the field's 27% ownership. Nikola Jokic, 27% leverage on him compared to the field's 17. Kobe White, 23% leverage compared to the field's 42. Tyrese Maxey, 19% leverage compared to the field's 23% ownership. Devin Vassell, 18% leverage. Aaron Gordon, 14%. And Quentin Grimes, wow, all right, Grimey. We're back in on Grimey at 4,300. 10% leverage from Quentin Grimes, who every night he's in my DFS lineup, he ends up like Frank Grimes from The Simpsons, for that dated reference. Leverage, you're getting negative leverage on Diabate. Diabate is expected to be in about a third of lineups. They got him at 7%. Does look like they changed the minutes around from where it was before, as I speculated they would be. Giannis Antetokounmpo, 17% exposure compared to the field's 41. So a pro-Jokic, anti-Giannis stand by Stokastic's top 150 lineups. Justin Edwards, I was in favor of him. Stokastic is anti. 3% exposure for him compared to the field's 12, negative 10% leverage overall. Damian Lillard, negative 10% leverage. So they're fading Giannis and Lillard together. Sometimes way Stokastic sims will work. If you get less Giannis, you'll get more Lillard. That's not the case today. Keldon Johnson, negative 7% leverage on the field's 13% ownership. That doesn't really matter. You're not playing PJ Washington very much, even though, as we talked about, price tag is up. Price sensitivity, very important in DFS, but PJ Washington and Gafford have kind of crushed the entire way up the salary scale. And Tim Hardaway Jr., negative 6% leverage for him at 14% ownership, which I support. I don't think is that good of a play. That's your lineups for today, guys. And slow day with NBA news. You never know when somebody's getting ruled out last minute. But yeah, really the only Q-tag guys you're worried about, as we saw with Unabated and as I talked about before, Zion, if he plays, good turn to play. If he doesn't play, everybody in New Orleans looks better. But the odds of Boston blowing him out probably increased a little bit. Jamal Shed doubtful. That'll open up a few more minutes. If Quickly's out and Shed's doubtful, that matters. Right now, I'd say it probably doesn't matter that much. Hope PJ stays low owned because I have a lot of hand builds. Yeah, I mean, look, as long as you're keeping in mind that price tag coming up is always the thing you got to watch out for. I think he's still worth tournament shots for sure. Competitive spot versus Detroit, I think, no matter what. But that's it for this one, guys. I'm going to give you my splash plays of the day, and I can see my blood vessel bursted face, as Larry had to point out again today. Please show some love here. Again, I'll give you my splash plays of the day in a moment. But first, please subscribe down below with the like button. Trying to get to our first, I'll cover my face here. You have to look at me. My first 1,000 subs on the channel. Trying to hit it before the All-Star break. So please hit the like button. Please subscribe. It all goes a long way for me here. Just one guy on the channel trying to do the best I can to give you NBA info every day. And of course, I'll give you the best tools, the best data I possibly could put together. I will always do that for you as long as you pull your end and hit that like and subscribe as much as you can. Underdog, $1,000 in bonus cash. Build some pick'ems using the data I show you on stream here every day. $1,000 in bonus cash to Dog Bowl as well. I'm not promoting this stuff as much as maybe we will if we get a new Underdog deal. But that is going on right now. If you want to get a trip to San Diego and a shot to win a lot of money, they got a lot of things going on in Underdog right now. And Stokastic, 15% off promo code SPLASH on there. Link in the description for all the stuff. And of course, Unabated. Please, pretty please, if you've ever been thinking about getting better at betting, you saw that graph I showed you before, check out Unabated today. They're a great sponsor. And again, they really do directly support the show. I wouldn't be doing this channel at all if Unabated didn't say, yeah, we'll bankroll you doing that for the year. So please go check them out. Show some love. It does matter a lot for this channel's success. Even if like 5 of you guys sign up a month, it's going to be enough, I think, to keep them, keep them on the hook. Slash plays of the day for me. Let me sort my stuff again one more time here. I think Aaron Gordon has to be one of them right now, assuming nothing changes in terms of the slate. He's one of your better value plays. I don't think he's going to kill you. There still might be better value that opens up, but Aaron Gordon looks good. I think Jalen Duren's one of the splash plays of the day. You're getting so much Paul Reed now. He's 3K minimum. 3K minimum guys in your lineup aren't going to kill you, but he's not starting. Like, he's still the backup. Whatever minutes Paul Reed doesn't play, Jalen Duren probably plays. So play Paul Reed with the field if you want, but with how much Stokastic is giving you to him, you got to play Duren and boost Duren in lines where you're not playing Paul Reed. Who else? I mean, the pay up guys, I don't really have a big stand. I think Giannis, Jokic, very similar plays for me. It's a tough slate. It's not one of those slates where I have a lot of big stands. And Diabate is down enough. Justin Edwards, I'll throw in his value as well. I think he's worth a shot today. I think he fits how I expect the slate to go. And Miles Bridges, I'll throw in. I would really caution, I guess, how much Miles Bridges you get, because there is a shot here that the Clippers just sell it, stop him defensively. He doesn't get there. But he's so good without LaMelo, so good without Brandon Miller. He's only 5% owned, it looks like. I'll play him at least 20%, if not more, in hopes the Hornets keep that one competitive and Bridges gets there again. Shouts to the chat. I'm checking him one more time here. Yes, like and subscribe. No dabble takes, unfortunately. That's hurtful. Thank you. I look like a sexy raccoon. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you all being here today. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe one more time, and gamble responsibly, guys. Even though it is always money time here, please do gamble responsibly. And shout to the chat. Even if you don't love what I say about homophobia, I appreciate you guys being here. I hope you hear me and you take it to heart, even if you don't change what you're saying. In other places, at least here, just be cool to everybody, as I'll ever ask you on the channel, even me with my little delicate eyes. I'll see you guys again soon, back on Monday at 4 p.m. And no NFL video this weekend either, so legit, back on Monday at 4 p.m. here on the channel. I'll see you guys then. Enjoy your days, and no matter what you're playing tonight, good luck. Bye-bye.